Hey everyone, Ray again. My wife asked me for a picnic table, and she didn't want just any picnic table. She said, don't you have a 5/8 inch steel sheet in the yard? I'm like, yeah, I've got a 5/8 inch thick sheet in the yard. She says, great, make me a picnic table from that. So here it is. This is the 5/8 inch thick steel sheet. She wants a picnic table made out of this. It's a total of about 12 hours of cutting time. So I'm going to do a little time lapse. Let's get started. Okay everybody, it's about 10 o'clock at night right now. I started this at about 11 in the morning. So we are right at about 11 hours. It looks like it's going to be exactly 12 hours. I've got a little bit more to cut here. Let's come back when it's quieter and we can see what parts have been cut. Alright, she is finally done. It is 11 p.m. so she's been cutting for 12 solid hours. And it looks good. I'm going to show you a few of the parts. You're going to see them again later. That is a foot. Yes, 5/8 of an inch thick. My wife wanted it out of this, which is why it took so long. This is a leftover piece. Another foot. This is the side of the benches. So the side of the tables are very similar. You're going to see all these parts later, but I just want to check the fit. It's a little dirty right now. There it is. So the foot will get welded right there, one on each side. Very nicely. That's how it'll be. That's one side of the bench. We're going to have another side of the bench. The table support itself is very similar. And this is the bar that supports the wood. There you go. Alright guys, so I decided to take a little break between the cutting and the grinding and the welding and all that to show you how this is getting put together, because it's quite interesting. So in woodworking, you have different woodworking joints. In particular, mortise and tenon joinery. In steel construction, we have something that we call tab and slot, but it's basically the same thing. So right here, this is one of the uprights for the bench. There's two benches. The table has some uprights too. You'll notice right here on the ends here, there is a rectangular boss and a lip. And on the bottom, we've got two bosses and a flat. So this is how it goes together. These are the feet. The feet have two rectangles in it, and it goes together like so. That goes there. This one goes here. That's how that fits, tab and slot, same as mortise and tenon construction. Now I'm going to show you some close-up detail of this, because there is some very important stuff to know when you do this kind of thing. If you're not familiar with it, or else you'll never get it to fit. Okay, so some of the principles in this tab and slot construction. So the water jet is basically a round stream of water. So if I were to come down this corner, this wall, this side here, and go straight across, this corner would have a radius in it. Well, that radius would intersect with, you can see the straight line here, and the two parts would not go together. So if you look real closely, you'll see what I've done. I've actually put a, there you go. I put a round hole right at each of the corners. That removes the material that would otherwise be in the way. That way a perfectly square corner can actually go in this hole. Same is true on this. This is one of the bench sides. So if you look here, at the bottom of this slot, I have the same exact feature, those round circles, which are about the 1/16 of an inch in diameter, that are there. You can kind of make that out. So the reason you got to do this is, if I put this on here, it'll become very, very clear. There it is. So you can see that square corner would be bound by the radius, but by having that hole there, I don't have that issue. Same is true for the other side. If I have it like this, you can see those holes, and actually if you look, if I tilt it, you'll see that these holes and these holes kind of intersect at 90 degrees. But that allows the two parts to mate very, very tightly together, and I don't have to worry about those corners interfering. Because believe me, that tiny little feature is enough to make it so that they won't go together tight, this tight. Alright, so a couple of things that did not capture on video due to some technical difficulties, and that's these two little parts right here. This is a piece of steel that has a hole drilled and tapped in it, 5/8 11, and a little groove in the side. Pretty simple, nothing fancy there. This is another piece of steel, and it is drilled and tapped for 1/2-13. Now you'll notice it has a step on here and a chamfer. Now that's on purpose. Let me show you what these little guys do, because once you see this, it'll become very, very clear. So for the table, I have this 1-inch schedule 40 pipe, and you'll notice that it has a hole drilled in it all the way through. So you got a hole that's drilled all the way through, and it goes through and through the whole part. The reason there's a groove on this little bushing here is because pipe has a seam in it. So to make sure this goes in without a problem, I made that groove. Let me get the hammer. I made that groove so that this, there we go. That one's a little bit more stubborn. So now that I've got that slug in there, I can go ahead and puddle weld this, puddle weld that, and grind it smooth. And now I have a way to bolt my tables together with just a bolt and using a lightweight pipe. Here you can see one that's already been welded. So I just got to grind that smooth. And there is the insert. So for the benches, you notice there's two different size pipes here. The 1-inch schedule 40 is for the table. 1/2-inch schedule 40 is for the benches. And that's what these little guys come in handy. Gonna put that one in there. And then I'm just gonna weld around here, grind it smooth. Here's one that I welded, the first one. I got a little carried away with the welding, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more grinding, but I'll fine tune it on the others. So that's what these little guys are for, and that's how it gets put together. All right, so here we have the 3 spreaders for the table base. So I've got these 2 done. I'm going to take one of these plugs that we talked about earlier and put it in here. So here you have what we start with. The pipe with the hole in it and the plug. This is it when it gets welded on both sides. You'll see that there. And then this is what it looks like when it's ground. By the time it's powder coated, you'd never know how it got assembled. So there's the pipe, there's finished welded, there's ground and ready for powder coat. So now I just got to put this in here, do the welding and grinding, and you're going to see that next. Here we are at the powder coater. Here are the parts getting ready to get sandblasted and powdered. So here are the uprights, and there are the braces. So we'll see them when they get powder coated.